almost hear the cheers at the offices of the Daily Mail and of the BBC. You could hear the celebrations, the applaud, and the sighs of relief at number 10. Yes, they've got what they wanted. They have a reported death from, or more importantly, with the Omicron variant. It has now just been reported that the first person to have died having tested positive for the Omicron variant has been identified. Now, firstly, I will say what I've said all along and what people often refer to me as a conspiracy theorist about, and that is that we have someone who has died with the bug rather than from the bug. Now, let me, for those who may be a little hard of thinking, let me sort of explain why this is such an important factor. I have, for the last couple of weeks, been suffering from somewhat of a cold, a little bit of a snuffle, if you will, the common cold. Now, if there was a test for the common cold, which there isn't, and the reason there isn't a test for the common cold is because it is mild and you are very likely to recover without any severe side effects. Yes, where have we heard that before? So no, there is no test for the common cold, but had there been a test for the common cold and I had taken said test because for some reason people want to give themselves a bit of a label these days, I could have set my own stopwatch ticking, couldn't I? If then anything had tragically happened to me within 28 days of me taking that positive test, the press could run with the story that the first man in many, many years in the UK has died with the common cold, which of course is not true. Because viruses and bugs and colds and all that sort of stuff is very, very prevalent this time of year, particularly as the weather gets worse. People are mixing a bit more, spreading viruses about and germs about and sharing coughs and splutters and all the rest of it. Lots and lots of people this time of year will have various coughs and colds and viruses and all the rest of it. Okay, so the chances are that if someone passes away from a pre-existing medical condition, an accident, or a combination of old age, comorbidities, all the rest of it, that a significant number of these people are likely to have some form of virus present in their body. If they tested for it, then they may find it. The difference, of course, with Omicron is that we're testing for it. If you're testing for common colds, then I'm sure you'd have a huge number of people who are dying in hospitals with the common cold. But we're not. We're testing for this, and the reason we're testing for this, and the reason this is such big news, is it perpetuates the fear. Downing Street and Boris can now justify their repeated and accelerating infringements on our freedoms and on our liberties. He can basically make excuses and further bury other scandal and sleaze and all the rest of it, and he can excuse the actions that he's taking in order to bring us in line with mass compliance. The media are loving it, of course, because they get to generate tons and tons of ad revenue through big sensationalist, doom-mongering, scary headlines about death awaiting around every corner. Whilst, in the meanwhile, they will all be completely ignoring the reports they're putting out themselves, carrying on with their own Christmas parties, and probably using the ad revenue generated to give themselves great big fat Christmas bonuses. Meanwhile, the people who read the news and believe the news and take everything they say at face value and as fact will be cowering in their homes, scared to leave, scared that they're going to contract this Omicron variant, which still presents itself in the vast, vast majority of cases as mild cold or flu-like symptoms. And the scary thing about this is we've seen from the crashing of the NHS booking system this morning, and we've seen from the queues outside GPs and drop-in centres, that there are a substantial proportion of the population who still listen to these goons, who still hang on every word that Boris says and believes everything they read in the mainstream media. And I'm not blaming these people. I have relatives who are these people, and these people are generally from older generations, who are already maybe afraid of the virus more than younger, healthier people. But these are people who grew up when the news was just that. It was reporting facts. It was telling you as it is. It was telling you information that you needed to know. There was no benefit to scaring people. There was no benefit to driving engagement through clicks to news stories. These poor people who are in one of the more vulnerable groups are going to be running scared even more now, because they are being told by sources they believe they can trust, although many people know that's not the case, that they should be afraid, they should be scared, and they should take these precautions. They will soon be thanking Boris for taking away our freedoms, from rejecting our liberties for a little bit of government, state-mandated safety in the form of lockdowns and new rules and regulations. And they'll once again get away with it. And it's disgusting. Stay safe and sane.